Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad new Fangled motion picture show.
Well, Nolan, it's finally out.
You mean, The Last Jedi?
Yep.
Most anticipated movie of the year, says the commercials.
That's probably a fair statement.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'm Niall.
Most anticipated by me, anyway.
Yep.
I'm Nolan.
And this is the Everything is Bad new Fangled motion picture show. We will be reviewing Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
First, a spoiler-free review.
Yep. First, we'll do spoiler-free review, and then we'll give you a spoiler warning because there are some serious spoilers for this movie, as is expected.
Right.
And then we'll go more in depth to it. And please, I apologize if you hear my coughing or the clicking of a cough drop in my mouth. I've been sick for a couple days. And I'm trying really hard not to just cough all over the mic right now.
Niall has lupus.
It's never lupus. Alright. Jeez, alright. So, The Last Jedi.
Yes. I liked it.
Yep, I enjoyed it.
I would rate it better than The Force Awakens. Not as good as any of the originals.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that
overall, I liked it.
It's better than the prequels, not as good as the originals. Not as good as Rogue One. But I don't know if I like it better than Force Awakens or not.
I think I like it better than Force Awakens. I liked Force Awakens, but it being as derivative as it was, this movie is not nearly so derivative of any of the previous Star Wars movies.
I mean, my argument about Force Awakens has always been being derivative. Excuse me. Being derivative is not necessarily making a bad movie.
No, but it's not as fresh as you hope.
Right. So, in this movie, as you probably know, it picks up right after the events of Force Awakens, like
hours at most.
Yeah, hours at most. The cough drop's apparently not helping.
You need a cough button like on the radio where you like it cuts out your mic while you hold it down.
Yeah. I need one that's like a pedal though. I know they make those for like Let's Players. Pedal button for that. Anyway. So it starts off with the evacuation of the Rebel base, or the Resistance base on whatever the hell that planet was called.
I don't remember.
Yep.
Takar or something like that? Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway.
So the premise of the movie is what's left of the Resistance is trying to flee the wrath of the First Order, General Hux and Kylo Ren.
Yep.
And Snoke.
Yep. So we get more Snoke, which you probably have gathered from production photos and Entertainment Weekly or whatever, and the internet, in his luxurious gold robes.
Yeah. Rey's parents are revealed.
Yep.
Which I just...
We'll get into that,
but I just want to say I was actually very happy with when they revealed Rey's parents. Nolan and I actually like fist bumped, and we were like cheering, silently because we didn't want to disturb the other people. We were like, yes, I'm so happy about this reveal.
Yep. And basically everything that not everything, but pretty much everything you expect is generalities. I mean, not like specifics of, parentage or whatnot or necessarily, but, yes, you get all the answers except for anything about Snoke. Anyway, still much of a mystery.
Yep.
But maybe they'll revealed in the next movie. Anyway. So, yeah, without going to spoiler territory, I thought it was a pretty decent movie. I know
I definitely...
reviews are mixed. There's like 800 something user reviews on IMDb, and almost all of them are negative.
Well...
Or at least...
There's
a huge number of like 1, 2, and 3 star reviews on IMDb.
Yeah.
I think it definitely deserves better than that.
Yeah,
I'd rank it a 7.
Yeah. I mean, the movie. There's a couple of valid complaints that I think people had. To some extent, I do agree with people who are complaining about the level of humor in the movie. Not because I don't think humor belongs in Star Wars, but because it felt more like there was more of it than any other Star Wars, and like a lot of it was more like slapstick in a way.
Yeah,
and I mean
that's true.
There should be some humor in Star Wars.
Star Wars mostly humor, except for in the case of Jar Jar Binks, the humor had always been dialogue based.
Right.
So yeah, except for and that's what a lot of it is in this. There is some slapstick humor here and there. I didn't think it was out of place.
It felt like there was a scene in particular where it sort of took me out of the moment. Because it's like a very serious scene. Like the last movie and the first half of this movie had built up to this moment, and then there's just this sight gag that happens, and it just like took me out of it. Because it was like this big, important, serious scene.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're probably talking about.
And I mean, it wasn't like... It wasn't to the point where it's like, I hated the movie because of it or anything. There was just... I think it could have been...
There are people on the internet that hate the movie because of it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree it could have been dialed back a bit. Let's see, what else can we talk about without spoiling things? The Praetorian Guard are cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They got, like, cool weapons and cool armor and stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the shots of the Porgs make me wonder what's so bad about CG.
Yeah, so the Porgs...
Because if puppets are your option, and that's the way you puppeteer...
As far as I can tell, the Porgs are entirely puppets, and some of it is very obvious.
Yeah, some of it's...
Like, you look at it, there's like this one in particular where a Porg gets scared and it flies off, and it literally looks like they took a doll and pulled it off the screen by a string.
Yeah.
I saw that, I was like, hold on.
Yeah,
that looked really bad.
And that really takes you out of it,
Most of the Porg stuff is completely fine.
Yeah.
But there's just like a few shots where like it's obviously a puppet.
There's one scene where it's definitely CG, and it's the one that's in the trailer where the one's up on the dash making all the racket and Chewie knocks it off.
Yeah.
Like that was definitely CG, but like some of the shots of the Porgs, I was just like, I saw it, I was like, why do people complain about CG? Like, this is what puppets look like, people.
Yeah, there was some not so great puppeteering with the Porgs. Not all of it, but some of it here and there. The crystal foxes that everyone was all about too. Those were all fine. Actually, a lot of that was CG. I'm sure. I know that there was some puppeteering.
They moved probably when they were like standing still, like looking when they were like perched up on the rocks and stuff. But a lot of the movement was way too fluid to be a puppet.
Yeah, I know that they did CG, but I know they did some puppeteering. That was all good. I didn't mind any of that.
The big battle on Crate with the new walkers, heavy walkers, and the resistance defending, that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah,
pretty cool battle.
There's a lot of battles in this.
I will say this
action.
though.
There's a lot of action in this movie.
I will say this, and we'll get more into it in the spoiler part, but the space battles felt kind of weak. Except for one part that was really cool, but I still have one problem with that scene. But like a lot of the space battles just felt like,
well, there's a little bit of a pacing issue in the movie in that some parts of it kind of could have picked up the pace, and then some parts of it felt really rushed.
The first like 20 minutes of the movie felt really rushed.
Yeah, there's just segments of the movie that like they just crammed a lot into it, and this is the longest Star Wars ever made.
It's 2 hours and 32 minutes.
Yeah, it's the longest Star Wars ever made, and it still feels like they rushed some stuff. But I think they could have expanded on some of that rushed stuff and cut down on some other things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too much of. I don't think it's a spoiler to say I was dissatisfied with the Canto Bight sequence.
Yeah, I'll just say it's not. There's not much of a Canto Bight sequence.
Yeah.
And they, as much as they showed off Canto Bight, leading up to the movie, I expected a lot more out of it, and I just, I was really excited for the Canto Bight stuff. I liked what I saw.
Yeah,
and
we're from Vegas, and like the extravagance and
the extravagant casino city, and this and we had read the book Canto Bight, which is like 4 short stories all set in Canto Bight, which is pretty good.
And what really bothered me about that is the view that you're supposed to, the like feeling and the view you're supposed to have towards Canto Bight from the book is so completely different than the one the movie's trying to portray to you.
Right. The book portrays it as like Las Vegas and a great destination, and the movie portrays it more as
playground for
like Monte Carlo.
Well, not just that, but like just the movie is like trying to make you have a negative opinion of Canto Bight,
right?
And the book doesn't do that at all.
No, the book actually, it doesn't.
So
anyway, we're getting a little off topic here, but the
we'll get a little more into that in the spoiler part.
I was underwhelmed with the Canto Bight stuff.
Yeah, for the record, Revenge of the Sith, which is the previous longest Star Wars movie, is only 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah. So there was some inconsistent pacing. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any complaints about any actors' performances. They actually dialed Finn back quite a bit. I thought Finn was really over the top and kind of annoying in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And they dialed him back quite a bit, which I don't have a problem with at all. He still has that like awkwardness about him, but he's not so weird.
Yeah. Oscar Isaac is good. Andy Serkis is good.
Oh man, Andy Serkis was great as Snoke. There was like such like the way he just like delivered some lines was just he just loved delivering those lines.
Yeah, like he was reveling in messing with the main character. Like
yeah,
truly sinister.
Right. Benicio
del Toro, I liked. I would actually love to get more. I would love like a book about him.
My only problem is I didn't like this. He had this weird stutter, and it wasn't like a normal stutter. It was like he would like have like this ticking noise or something. It was weird, and I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I liked the character fine, but this weird stutter was, I don't know, distracting.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. Is that all we can say without spoiling things?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to go see it. If you're not a Star Wars fan, I'd still recommend it. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
All right. So, from here forward, there are spoilers. You have been warned.
Yeah, so don't get mad at us.
So, Rey's parents. Oh, I am so happy they were no one important.
They were in fact, they were bad people. They sold Rey into slavery to buy booze money.
Yep.
Or buy booze money. They sold her to buy booze.
To get booze money.
Yeah, to get booze money. And then they were later found dead, like in a trash heap somewhere or something, right?
Yeah, something
it was mentioned like that. I was like, man, Rey's parents were so insignificant.
So it's revealed by Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And I really liked what he did with it, because it like, because like if they were like, oh yeah, Rey's parents are no one important, there would still be all these fans theorizing like, oh no, that's not really her parents. Her parents are gonna be revealed to be Han and Leia, or whomever. You know,
I'm particularly glad it's not Han and Leia, because that would make Rey and Kylo Ren in this movie have this very flirty, like both attracted to each other relationship that would have been
super
awkward, far more than Luke and Leia's relationship ever was. So her being,
at least Luke and Leia's relationship didn't go anywhere after she kissed him on Hoth, and that was really just to piss off Han anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. The way he reveals it is he's like digging into her thoughts with the Force, and like, admit it, because he pulls it out of her head and he's like, admit it. You can say it. You know it's true, and she admits it. that that's the truth.
Yep.
So it like confirms and leaves you with like, no doubt that that's actually the case. Which, see, and people are, probably upset by that. I know people were reading some of the reviews I have read. People were upset. They say that, that just shits on everything because the movies are supposed to be about Skywalkers, and if she's not a Skywalker, how can the movie... Well, the movie's not about her, it's about Kylo Ren.
Yeah, it really... So, I mean, if you haven't figured it out, these two movies are about Kylo Ren. They're Kylo Ren's story.
Right.
Deal with the fact that the main character is technically the bad guy.
After they reveal that, Rey kind of falls off. She's not in the movie much anymore.
Yeah,
it focuses a lot more on Kylo Ren after that.
Yeah, Kylo Ren versus Luke.
Yeah, so excuse me. Anyway, and then there's this thing like if you keep making all these characters connected to one another, you're making this universe smaller.
Yep.
We're supposed to be expanding the Star Wars universe, right?
I mean, it's like let Rey be from humble beginnings. I mean, Anakin is the Force Jesus. Come on.
I had a thought, like, what if she's a virgin as well, because she's super powerful in the Force, but since her parents were married, they just assumed they conceived her.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, so Rey's really powerful, like, really powerful Force user,
she had
no training.
Yeah, she had, like 2 hours worth of training. Like, Luke refused to train her when he finally did start training her. He only gave her, like, a tiny bit, and she is already, like, way more powerful than Luke was.
Yep. There's a sequence towards the end where... Remember when Luke couldn't lift the X-Wing out of the swamp and like he was having trouble balancing 3 rocks on Dagobah?
Yeah, Rey's just like, I'm just move this landslide.
Yeah, Rey's like, oh man, there's all these boulders preventing my friends from getting out of this cave. I'm just gonna lift them up and hold them there while a dozen people come crawling out.
Yeah.
And I mean like dozens of like 3-foot wide boulders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's she's way powerful. So the thing I'm gonna guess at what you were saying, what took you out of the movie.
Oh yeah.
When Luke throws the lightsaber over his shoulder.
No. That was not great either. What I'm talking about when Rey's finally confronting Snoke with Kylo Ren.
I thought you said in the beginning. I thought you meant
no.
I thought you said it was in the beginning.
I don't think I said it. I might have misspoken and said it at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
But I did not mean to say at the beginning. No, so when she and Kylo Ren finally like on the ship going to confront Snoke, she's saying, "You're gonna do the right thing, and you're gonna help me strike down Snoke, and you're gonna come back to the light side." And he's saying, "No, you're gonna help me kill Snoke, and you're gonna go with me to the dark side." And there's like this, oh man, which way is it gonna go? Because there's like, it's like, oh, it looks like maybe Kylo Ren will turn. Oh, now it looks like maybe Rey will turn. There's this part where Rey force pulls, it's Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah.
His the one that was given to Luke in A New Hope. Force pulls it off of Snoke's throne, and it flies past her hand, whips around the room, hits her in the back of the head, and flies back to Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke had seized control of it with the Force.
Yes, I'm not implying that at no point did I think that Rey purposely just hit herself in the back of the head.
Well, it wouldn't have been purpose.
No, but I did not think that Rey hit herself in the back of the head with a lightsaber. As soon as it went past her, I realized, oh, it's Snoke or Kylo Ren controlling it.
Yeah.
But like that was just such a slapstick sight gag moment, and it's just like this otherwise very serious, intense scene.
Yeah.
It was just like having some like sparring with dialogue and stuff that's humorous to sort of lighten the mood a little bit, because it's just a Star Wars movie is one thing, but that just really out of left field and just really such divergence from the feel of the rest of the scene. That particular part really took me out of it.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, the only thing that bothered me about what I was talking about. When Rey hands the lightsaber to Luke and he takes it from her and he just chucks it over his shoulder, wouldn't your first reaction be like, where the hell did you get that? I lost this hand when it was attached to this lightsaber 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
has it been that long? Is that how long it's been?
Over 30. I don't know. Anyway, but still, like, he has, like, hardly any reaction to being handed Anakin's lightsaber. You know, what you would expect, like, who would find that on... Because didn't it also fall to the surface? Like, when...
It falls out when the hatch opens and Luke falls out onto the weather vane, his hand and lightsaber fall out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You see them tumble into the clouds.
That's what I thought. So, I don't know how you retrieve something like that from a gas giant, but, you know...
Maybe it got scooped up. Someone's scooping up Tabana for fuel or whatever. No, they use it for blasters, right?
No, I think now the official use for Tabana is as a coolant.
Okay, whatever.
Or a lubricant? I don't know. It used to be that Tabana was used as in blasters, as you ionize the Tabana gas and that it fires a blaster bolt.
Right.
I think now, as of Rebels, it's been changed to a coolant or something like that.
I don't know. But anyway, so...
But I think it's still explosive.
Yeah, so...
Anyway.
That was one of my... one of my complaints about the movie. My other complaints... One, the space battles do feel kind of weak. Because it's like, alright, Poe's doing... At the beginning of the movie, it's like, alright, Poe's doing cool stuff. Oh man, now the bombers are here. They're gonna blow the crap out of this thing, and oh man, one bomber blows up. The exploding debris flies into another bomber, flies into another bomber, flies into another bomber. Oh, they all get taken out by exploding debris from each other. Oh, there's one bomber left. They had such an easy time with all the other bombers. Why can't they kill this bomber?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, I mean, like they kept showing us the shot of the fighters flying through between the bomber formation in the trailers, and it made it look like there was going to be a big epic space battle, and there was no epic space battle. There was also a couple only of small space battles. Yeah, and only one A-wing.
One A-wing that was like they made this big deal about there being A-wings in the movie. There's only one A-wing. Yeah, and I think there were only like 3 X-Wing pilots left or something like that anyway, or I don't know. There's hardly anything left. And then after that fight, I think there's only down to like Poe and one other
No, there was like 4 pilots, because remember when they mutiny?
Yeah, well, one of the mutineers was the that bridge officer, that junior officer who's Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Right.
She wasn't a pilot.
Right, but there was like 3 others. There was like Poe and 2 others.
There was
Was Elo Asti?
Elo Asti.
And at least one other.
Was one of them Snap Wexley?
Maybe.
I don't know. I get a good look at it.
I don't think Snap was in this movie. I think Snap's dead.
I think Snap died? Okay.
Which is too bad, because I like Snap. Like, as a character, he's in the Aftermath books. I like Snap Wexley.
Anyway, so yeah, my complaint, I didn't like I was underwhelmed with the Canto Bite stuff. You spend more time on not a horse, whatever they call those animals, on a race. Fathier. Yeah, you spend more time on a Fathier track than you do in the casino.
And a lot of the shots in the casino are pretty tight on Finn and Rose.
Yeah, so you don't really see like this whole... I mean, the Canto Bite scene should have been the cantina scene, right?
Yeah, should have been panning around. Should have shown us just all kinds of weird aliens playing weird alien card games and whatever.
And they did show that, but very briefly. And I don't know, I just didn't really like... And then most of the stuff on Canto Bite was a chase sequence. With Finn and Rose are on a Fathier, and the police are chasing after him in a speeder, and...
Yeah,
no, I didn't really like that sequence much.
In the books, like, or in the one book, Canto Bite's like, it's painted to be this like resort planet that is unaligned with the Republic, Resistance, or First Order. They screen for spies and agents of those factions. You know, they take it seriously that this is a neutral territory in a world plagued with war. There is Canto Bight where you can go and forget about it. And they have, it's like Vegas, they have spa, world, you know, galaxy famous spas, masseurs and masseuses.
Yeah. Massage parlors.
Yeah. You know, and everyone from the like card shark career players to like the bumbling tourists are welcome in Canto Bight. And like, yeah, there's some seediness in the background, but overall, you know, the planet's a good thing. Right. And then in the movie, it's like, look at all these
Every single person in this casino is a war profiteer.
Yeah.
Every last person in this casino that you see in front of you right there, right now, is a war profiteer, is the way they portray it.
Which, even from the way they portrayed it, when Rose said that, I was like, I doubt that.
I could see one or two, sure.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in that casino.
Maybe even several.
Yeah.
But yeah, and in the book, it's made very clear that, you know, people win sweepstakes to go to Canto Bight. There's career card players who are not themselves particularly wealthy. There's people who are just, you know, their family owns some business on whatever planet they're from. You know, owns like a big industrial farm, and you know, it's like, no, not everyone there is a war profiteer. And at no point in the movie do they make an attempt to prove Rose wrong about that?
And so, in fact, they do more to push it with Benicio del Toro's character DJ, when he goes and steals a ship, and he's like, "Oh, look, this guy's a war profiteer. He's selling equipment to both sides of the war." And it's like, "Oh, he's like, in the way he portrays it, like, oh yeah, this is just the normal thing on Canto Bight. Everyone is doing this." I'm like, that's highly unlikely.
And he because Finn's making a big deal out of all the evil people there, and Benicio del Toro's DJ.
Yeah.
DJ's like, yeah, but the person whose yacht we stole, yeah, he was selling weapons to the First Order, but he was also selling stuff to the Resistance. And basically he says like the only way to not deal with the bad guys is to not be not involved. You know, and
yeah, so overall I was not real pleased with the Canto Bight section. I was actually looking forward to it. I thought it looked really cool stuff.
They made such a big deal out of it in the production.
And it was pretty short too. Like, and the thing, it didn't have to even be Canto Bight. They went there because the slicer they're looking for happens to be on Canto Bight. He could have been on any planet. They could have been like, oh yeah, there's this master slicer. He lives on Bespin in Cloud City. Why don't you go pick him up?
Yeah.
You know, it could have been anywhere. It didn't have to be there. And so this, like, it becomes this throwaway planet when it was supposed to be a really cool planet.
Yeah, and they didn't. So they're supposed to be able to identify the code breaker by this lapel pin he's wearing, and they find the guy who, in the casino, is wearing the lapel pin, who looks like Johnny Depp's character from Murder on the Orient Express. Like, he's got like a pencil mustache and smoking jacket and stuff.
Yeah, he had like this white tuxedo.
Or he has a white tuxedo, yeah, and like a pencil mustache, and like it looked like he was straight out of the 50s.
Yeah.
Or the 40s.
Anyway, they find him, but then security nabs him because they parked illegally.
I kept waiting for... Right. That's such silly. A stupid reason, too.
And they throw him in prison for that? Like, you parked illegally. Give him a ticket. Tell them to impound their ship.
I mean, they bypassed customs, too, which I guess...
Oh, did they?
Kind of... I mean, well, yeah, they landed on the beach on that fake sea.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway.
And I kept waiting for Benicio del Toro to mention that, like, he lost that in a bet to someone or something.
Like, he's actually the master code breaker.
Because they make this big deal out of, like... Because they call Maz Kanata, who her sequence was amusing, just because she's, like, the whole time she's talking with them via holo projector.
And there's all these blasters going off around her, explosions and
they're like, what's going on, Maz? She's like, it's a union dispute, don't worry about it. which is pretty funny. But she's like, yeah, there's only one person in the galaxy who can break the codes for the First Order's security grid. This guy on Canto Bight playing in the high stakes room.
Because she knows right where this guy is at all times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's always playing at the high stakes tables,
yeah, okay, I guess so.
He'll be at the high stakes tables,
and he has this lapel pin. Go look for him.
Yeah, he wears this lapel pin, which is probably like I was expecting that to be like the symbol of like her trade or her smuggler group or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
like
maybe it was. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they don't expand upon if the shape of the pin is of any significance or anything.
Yeah.
And then, like, because they run into DJ in prison, and DJ breaks out,
and he's like, "Yeah, I think I could do what you wanted me to do, what you need me to do." And they're like, oh, "Okay." But it's like
I kept waiting.
They just conveniently like are thrown into a cell with this guy who is also able to do what they need.
Yeah. And I was kept waiting for him to explain how, like, oh yeah, I lost that pin in a bet, and then the police arrested me because, you know, I tried to fight him for it or something.
Yeah, and it turns out he's actually the guy. That would have been
and just
better.
All right.
I mean, I was expecting it to be him. Like from the get go, like when Maz Kanata was like, "All right, you need this master code breaker," I'm like, "That's got to be Benicio del Toro."
Benicio del Toro's character.
That's got to be it.
Yeah. So the Canto Bight sequence was kind of a letdown. So later on, I'll just go ahead and say that other than a few awkward shots of the Porgs and some weird puppeteering of Yoda's Force Ghost, which was another it was this weird combination of Yoda doesn't look natural, and there's some a slapstick humor part in the middle of this serious come to Jesus moment for Luke.
Yeah, but that's always been Yoda's thing. If you look at especially in the prequels, that's been Yoda's teaching style, where he basically has to hit you over the head and then make fun of you. For you to get it across. I
get that, but I don't know.
I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like that was out of place.
But here's the thing: I think that wouldn't have felt weird to me if the whole scene didn't feel weird because of the bad puppeteering of Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda I was sitting there Yoda's just kind of creeping me out.
And that was another moment when I was sitting there going, you know, what's so bad about CG sometimes, guys? CG isn't always bad, especially these days.
Well, it's they replaced in episode 1, they replaced the puppet Yoda with the CG Yoda. I prefer the CG Yoda in episode 1.
Yeah.
It's just the puppet Yoda just kind of...
And it's fine.
It might have been because I'm used to seeing Yoda in these dark... in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. You never see Yoda in good light at all. And that probably helps a lot.
He also doesn't move a lot. Every scene he's in is him standing there lecturing Luke. The most movement he gets that you see on screen is when he's on Luke's back.
Yeah. So
I mean, because
I'm pretty certain Frank Oz did not puppeteer Yoda in this.
He did voice him,
but it's just some of the movements just didn't look natural, and I don't know, they're just...
Yeah, so...
it could have been with the lighting, too. Yoda just kind of didn't look right to me.
But yeah, other than that scene, I actually liked all the Jedi stuff on... What was the name of that planet?
I don't remember.
Island planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the Force Awakens ends. That planet, all the Jedi training stuff there, I was actually pleased with for the most part.
There's this one part that's kind of funny where Luke's talking to Rey, and he's like, "Okay, now just reach out," and she holds her hand out, and he's got this look in his face I didn't mean physically. And then so he takes this leaf, and he's tickling her hand. He's like, "Do you feel that?" She's like, "Yeah, it tingles." Yeah, that's the Force. Really? No. And he slaps her hand.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Which I was like, yeah, okay, real nice of Luke Skywalker of all people to be messing with the poor teenage girl from a backwater planet.
Yeah, more backwater than Tatooine, but still.
Although it was funny when she was like, "I'm from nowhere," and he's like, "Nobody's from nowhere." She goes, "All right, I'm from Jakku." He's like, "That's pretty much nowhere."
Yeah, that's pretty much nowhere.
That was pretty funny too. those I didn't. Those sequences or the humor in those shots didn't bother me. Again, because they weren't in a scene that was like otherwise so very serious and dark. But yeah, I was basically fine with all the stuff on that planet. So when they get back to the ship, they board it. You know, like all that's fine. I didn't have any issues with it. The fight with Rey and Kylo Ren against the Praetorian Guard was really cool.
Yeah,
I really liked that fight scene. That was super cool. And then, so when they're evacuating, and it's, you know, Benicio del Toro has given the codes to the First Order to be able to see the cloaked ships, and they start firing on him, and the Vice Admiral chick, it is directly her fault that the First Order or the Resistance is down to like 12 people. I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, this bothered me.
She does this really cool thing though, where she jumps into hyperspace through the First Order fleet and through their massive dreadnought, Super Star Destroyer or whatever.
Yeah, it wipes out several Star Destroyers and then like cuts this like a third off of this massive ship. Just
right, and it was a really cool shot, and just like it shows like the Star Destroyers, and then just like in a blink of an eye, they're just entwined, and it was really cool. And then I was like, why has no one thought to just slap hyperdrives on like chunks of metal and hyperspace jump them into capital ships?
Yeah.
I mean, could they have just decided, you know what, we're just going to remove everyone, all the crew from our MC-80 Moncal cruisers going to Endor. We're just going to jump them into hyperspace through the Death Star 2.
Yeah, couldn't they have just like, you know what? I'll sacrifice Home 1 for a Death Star.
Yeah, that's more than a fair trade.
Yeah.
You know, like, what... I mean, maybe not Home 1. Maybe sacrifice, like, Liberty or something.
Yeah, okay. Still.
Yeah, I mean, because Home 1's supposed to be a purpose-built warship, right?
Yeah.
The other two are converted.
Well, I mean, would it have worked would a medium transport have had the mass if you like filled that thing up to like blast a big enough hole through the Death Star if you centered it on the Death Star to like just take out the power core?
Yeah, and, so it's like it was a really cool scene, and like when they revealed that that's what she was gonna do, I was excited to see it. I was like, I want to see what this is gonna do. That's and then we're sitting there going, why has no one done... Like, I refuse to believe she's the first person to have tried this.
Well, and I think it was the West End Games Star Wars role-playing game. There were rules for doing that. For flying... Like, what... It wasn't in the core book. It was one of the other books, but there was rules for, like, what if you flew a ship through hyperspace into another ship? Or what if you took a capital ship and sent it pointed at a planet, disabled the safeties, and flew into hyperspace? What would it do to that planet? And essentially, you'd like probably, if a big enough ship, you'd crack the crust and you'd probably destroy the atmosphere on the ship. I mean, or on the planet. As the rules worked in that.
As someone who has, I would say, an above-average understanding of physics, I think it's safe to say, I could tell you that anything that like something with that's like the size and mass of a baseball moving at light speed would turn our atmosphere into plasma.
Hyperspace is faster than light speed.
Yeah, so something with the mass of like an X-wing hyperspacing into a Death Star 2 should destroy it, but it's Star Wars, so obviously that's not an option.
Anyway.
Getting a little too much into that, but it was a really cool shot, but it just made me sit there and go, what? Really? No one's tried this before? Like, because surely someone has, and if someone has, someone would have seen that and gone, the next obvious conclusion, I'm not, I'm no like military strategist or anything, but I sat there and went, well, couldn't they just like slap some like aiming thrusters and a hyperdrive?
I thought at the very least she was going to ram
steel rod.
I wasn't at first. Didn't realize she was going to do hyperspace. I thought at the very least she was going to ram it into the bridge or something. And then she started like, powering up the hyperdrive. I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. So these turn of events are this admiral's fault. So Leia.
Yeah, Vice Admiral Holdo.
Yeah, so Leia's almost killed during the space battle. So she's in a coma or whatever, and so this Vice Admiral chick is in charge. And Poe Dameron's like, hey, we need a plane. Don't tell me we're just running because we will run out of fuel. And she's like basically just brushes him off. Like,
yeah, she basically says like, you know what, I'm in charge. You got to listen to me. So follow orders and get off the bridge.
Yeah,
it's basically her attitude.
Yeah, her attitude is like, you're only good at making a scene and blowing things up, Poe Dameron. Get off of my bridge.
Yeah, but he is in command of all the starfighters. There's only a few left, but he is top dog starfighter.
Right.
And he should be that puts him in some senior command staff.
Yeah, it should. But and so Poe Dameron, as a result of that, hatches this plan of like, we got to do something. So their plan is to go get Benicio del Toro.
Well, he doesn't hatch it. Finn and Rose come to him with their plan.
Right. And so he helps
But if he had known that there was a plan, he'd have been like, well, hold off, guys. There's a plan.
Right.
But he doesn't. He's like, well, Vice Admiral Holdo isn't going to do anything, so we got to do something.
Yeah. And so that leads to Finn and Rose going and getting Benicio del Toro. They end up getting caught on that Super Star Destroyer. He gives them, or helps them break the code to track their cloaked ships.
Helps the First Order break.
Get the code to break the cloaking on the Resistance ships. They proceed to bombard the Resistance ships as they're fleeing off of the last Mon Cal cruiser.
And there's only like 1 or 2 ships left at the end.
Yep. Where if she'd have just gone, hey, Poe Dameron, there is a plan. Here's the deal. They can't track our ships. They got these cloaking devices that, even they won't be able to track.
So we're going to load everyone up onto the transports, and we're going to go over to this planet, and we're going to wait for the First Order to fly by, and then we'll get off that planet and go get some help.
Right.
That was the plan. If she just told him the plan.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, you know what? Get off my bridge and follow orders.
Yeah.
And so that's not good leadership.
No, and especially if you read the comics like we have, you understand that Poe Dameron does a lot to set up the Resistance, probably more than anyone else other than Leia. And it's shown that when he knows all the cards, when he knows all the information that he needs to for a situation, he can express subtlety. Because her thinking is basically like not telling him the plan because he's only good at blowing things up, and that gets people killed.
He's only a blunt instrument.
He's only a blunt instrument.
Whereas in the comics, Leia has, like, Poe has Leia's full trust, and she tells him all the time, what's going on, and like, here's the plan, here's what we need to do, and execute that.
There's a lot of times when his first instinct is, I'm gonna hop on my X-wing and I'm gonna go blow up some First Order people. And Leia has to go, okay, Poe, really think about the situation. That does happen, but
yeah,
when this whole situation is explained to him.
Yeah, when he has the whole picture, he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. He is perfectly capable of rational thought.
Right.
And he goes, oh, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, so she's responsible for the destruction.
Vice Admiral Holdo is responsible for almost all the there's only like 400 Resistance members on that ship or something, right?
Probably barely enough to actually crew that ship.
And most of them get killed.
Yep. The entirety of what's left of the Resistance at the end of the movie is shown in a single shot in the cargo hold of the Falcon.
Yeah. Because after they land on that ship, there's still the other battle on Crate with the walkers and everything.
That was real cool. I don't think we have anything. I don't have anything to say that's. I mean, that was cool. I didn't dislike anything about that.
Oh, what was kind of cool? So they were, when Luke shows up, and I was like, "This has got to be a force projection," because he looked younger.
Yep.
And then also, it was confirmed when he's fighting Kylo Ren, and so there's this layer of salt over top of this red mineral.
Which is a real place, you were telling me?
Yeah. Wherever they filmed it, I can't remember where it is. Anyway, these salt flats. And so when you walk on that, you leave footprints behind because it removes the crust of salt and there's just red mineral underneath. And Luke's not doing that. It shows his feet, and he's not leaving any cracks in the salt crust. And so that just confirmed it. And then it was just this force projection. Luke's still back on that planet, sitting there. And the effort of him doing that kills him.
We kept waiting for Luke to show up in his X-wing.
Yeah, because they showed he had sunk his X-wing like in the ocean, but he's like, well, it's no problem for Luke. Just force lift it out of there. I mean,
yeah.
And then I kept expecting Luke to show up. There's this one point where this blaster fire comes from off screen and hits some TIE fighters. Like it's Luke.
Like
one
shot that hits like 3 TIE fighters at once. It goes like through them.
Yeah, and I was like, it's Luke. And like, oh no, it's the Millennium Falcon.
I was like, surely that has to be Luke, ace pilot.
No.
And Jedi. No.
It's Chewie, ace pilot, and Rey, gunner.
Rey, kind of a Jedi.
Gunner.
As gunner.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that whole sequence is pretty cool. And then everyone escapes at the end, obviously. They really looked like for a second they were gonna kill Finn off.
Yeah. I was sitting there like, oh, they're not gonna kill Finn, are they? Well, I was torn. Like they could. It really looked like they were going to, and I thought, well, are they really? I mean, they just introduced in the last movie.
Well, and here's my thing. Why
heroes are usually pretty safe in Star Wars.
Well, I was kind of convinced that he would die. Well, I mean, heroes are safe in Star Wars except for Qui-Gon Jinn. So I was
then all the Jedi though too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I was kind of convinced it for me because I was like, all right, look, who are the characters with the most popular toys? Kylo Ren and Rey, easily, right?
Right.
And then Poe Dameron. How many Finn toys have you seen?
I don't know.
They don't exist. He doesn't have like a cool ship. His guns kind of.
He has an action figure.
Well, sure. Everyone has an action figure in Star Wars, though. That doesn't count. So I was like, maybe they can kill Finn because, frankly, what he's done in this movie, could have been done by anyone. And like, I'm just saying, man, he better do something cool in the next movie. Otherwise, they missed a perfect opportunity to like actually do something that like, because the middle movie is supposed to, or this movie we were led to believe was supposed to leave everyone in a holy crap. How can they possibly win against this?
Well, they
situation?
do. There's only like 8 members of the Resistance left.
Right, but they still drive home. But the name characters are safe.
Yeah, but
So,
Luke dies.
Yeah, but
And we know at some point Leia's gonna die between movies or something.
like we knew Luke was going. Like we knew it had to be Luke or Leia or Chewie. Both Leia and Chewie now have to die by the end of the next movie. They have to.
Chewie doesn't have to die.
I guess since he's all CG now, but like
he's not all CG. That's a tall Scandinavian in a suit now.
Well, I think it must be CG enhanced because there was a couple of shots that did not look natural.
I don't know. As far as I know, it was just that guy in the suit the whole time.
But anyway, I think they might be like CG enhancing the movements of the face or something.
Maybe.
There's a couple of shots, like the close-up shots on his face that don't look right. But anyway, yeah, since it's not what's his name anymore?
Peter Mayhew.
Chewie doesn't have to die. But they really should kill him off. Him and Leia. Or maybe not kill off Chewie, but Chewie's just like, you know what? Han's dead, Luke's dead, Leia's dead.
I'm gonna go back to Kashyyyk and see my son I haven't seen in decades.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home to my son, Lumpy, the Wookiee, who is canon. Deal with it. So Finn
as of like the last Aftermath book.
Yeah, so Finn better do something really cool in episode 9, though.
Yeah, he's, I think, probably my least favorite of the new characters. Just, not because I have anything against him, it's just, he doesn't do a whole lot.
You know whose death I actually am not happy with?
Huh.
Is Captain Phasma.
We don't know that she's dead.
That's true. She does, like, because the book about her is really cool. And it just, like, drives home like how willing she is to do anything if it means her own survival.
Right, which sort of, to me, if you're upset about Phasma, like, people are all upset, like, Phasma just gave up too easily when confronted with Han and Finn, and then you read the novel, you're like, okay.
No, she's just selfish.
Super. The only reason she's a part of the First Order, she's like, she feels that that's the most likely chance of her survival.
Right.
She is only concerned with her survival, and she doesn't really care about anything else.
Yeah.
She's not really loyal to the First Order, but the First Order is her best shot of survival.
Right. So, yeah, and at the end, there's one last shot right before the credits.
Yeah, I didn't really like that.
Universally, I've talked to several people about this. No one liked it that I've talked to. It felt really cheesy.
Yeah, it felt really cheesy, and I didn't really see I think the whole point of it is it's supposed to be like, there's still hope out there in the galaxy. There's still a chance for the Jedi to come back.
Yeah, and that felt super cheesy. And, like, the kid just, like, having the awareness of his own force ability to be able to pull that broom to him, I was like, bullshit.
Yeah. Look, Anakin, all he had was, he was good at pod racing, and I don't think he ever had, like, tried telekinesis, because who would even...
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah.
They always made... In the previous movies, they always made the telekinesis look much more difficult. Like Luke. Yeah, like Luke always struggled with it.
Like pulling his lightsaber out of the snow on Hoth.
Yeah, it always looked like it took some effort to do.
And you know what must have been... Like, it's so weird because I can't remember a time in my life where I hadn't seen any of the original movies. Right?
Yeah.
And so... it must have just been mind-blowing seeing Empire for the first time for people, and him pulling that lightsaber out of the snow.
Yeah, because they didn't show any telekinetic ability in A New Hope.
We
didn't know that they could do that.
The only force ability we saw was the ability to, like, sense emotions and thought, and to influence other people's thought.
And hit small targets.
Yeah. Although
rats.
although Vader does force choke a dude.
That's true.
But we never saw the Force used in that way in A New Hope.
Right, and then Luke used it in Empire, and it's like, oh, look what he can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rey's just like Force moving all kinds of stuff in this one.
Yeah, like if Rey could get herself some like actual training, she's gonna be a god.
Yeah.
An angry god.
So now, Finn's got a choice to make between the celibate monk that he likes and the Asian girl.
I don't think the celibacy was explained to Rey. I don't think
she might not be aware of the celibacy.
I don't think the celibacy or the monk nature of the Jedi was really had a chance to be driven home to her yet.
Okay, so maybe you still got a shot with Rey. Anyway, Finn's got 2 girls into him now, but Rey is also into Ben Solo.
Yeah,
you can tell. There's like a scene where like Kylo Ren's all shirtless, just like super like flustered by that.
Yeah.
In fact, I think just like what has been shown in the movies, I think she might be more into Kylo Ren than she is into Finn.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, so I think that's really all we have to say.
Yeah,
about this movie.
I think we probably could just go on just talking about minutia of the movie, but overall, I liked the movie. It's not the best Star Wars, but certainly not the worst.
It is not any worse than any of the prequels.
No.
Yeah.
Although to read a lot of reviews online or to watch them on YouTube, you would think this was the absolute worst Star Wars movie ever made.
Here's the thing: there's no cringy dialogue in this movie, which immediately makes it better than all of the prequels.
Right.
Like no cringy dialogue, instant better than prequels.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what Rian Johnson can pull off with his own trilogy. He has said that he's not like. I saw an interview or read an interview with him. And he said that he's not read any of the EU books, like the old EU stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So
kind of surprising.
Well, he said when growing up, he played like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff. And and like some of the video games, so he is aware of like some of like the real like story and lore heavy like eras in the old EU. But he never really read them, which he seems to think is a plus, and I kind of agree with his sentiment, because he doesn't like have am I copying this thing that was done, or
can I fit Thrawn in here somewhere?
Yeah, can I find a way to bring in like all the ancient Sith lords and stuff? Like, he doesn't have any of that weighing him down, and maybe like, because I gotta imagine if he's going to do a trilogy in a whole completely different era, which he would have to.
That's what he said. Well, they already said that's what he's doing.
Yeah, so
it's gonna be a whole different era.
Surely he's gonna have a lot of meetings with Pablo Hidalgo.
Well, the whole story group too. But yeah, I want something in the past. I don't want something like in the far-flung future or anything.
Yeah,
like
I want something like way in the old Republic, like Knights of the Old Republic era.
That would be my preferred era.
Like, I would like it, because it is canon that there was at one point a war between the Mandalorians and the Republic as well. Yeah. That has been established, and it was implied also that it happened millennia before the events of the movies. Yeah. So I would love to see a movie about the Mandalorian War with the Republic.
Yeah, we get some like really cool lightsaber stuff, because right now in these new movies they're back to just like flailing around with lightsabers and no skill involved.
Yeah, because it's like Kylo Ren, who has had some training but has no want for finesse.
Yeah, and he just like does this like hunched over like like Hulk pose whenever he like whips out his lightsaber, and Rey's just like flailing about with the thing because she doesn't have any skill with it. She doesn't have any training, and like Luke like, never had any training with a lightsaber. Like Yoda didn't show him.
Yeah, so like even if he had stuck around to train her some more, it's not like he's an expert swordsman who could have done anything to really help her.
No, whereas, I mean, all the lightsaber fights in the prequels were awesome, because, they had this, like, great kendo finesse stuff going on that was just really cool.
But yeah, so, I think J.J. Abrams will do a fine job with Episode 9, honestly. Yeah. Like, people blame J.J. for, like, the derivative nature of Force Awakens, which I don't... From everything I've seen, it's not really JJ's fault. He really didn't. He didn't have much say in the overall story. From what I gathered, he did like write the script, but he was told what the story had to be.
Yeah, well, Lawrence Kasdan, I think. Well, the two of them wrote it together, so I don't know. But I think they were playing it a little safe with Episode 7, though.
Because like Episode 7 had to be good. It didn't have to be a great movie, but it really could not be bad or even okay. It had to be good. Force Awakens was good. It just wasn't great.
Yeah. Well, that's more or less the same with this one. I like The Last Jedi a little bit better than The Force Awakens. So
yeah, all the stuff with like the Jedi and the stuff between Rey and Kylo Ren I really liked. It was the story revolving around the Resistance and dealing with like Poe Dameron and stuff I didn't like as much. Cause like I don't know, like it's so weird because I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just it didn't feel. It felt weird because it's like. Really, the First Order has all these ships and can only manage to lob like one turbo laser shot per second at them.
Well, they were shooting from like some like super cannon thing that was super powerful, and I don't know.
But a really long range.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that whole sequence felt kind of like the explanation for all the stuff going on there just felt kind of weak to me. But
well, I mean, like someone was saying, like, why didn't the First Order just do a micro jump closer to the ships? I'm like, well, have they established in canon that a micro jump is possible?
Yeah, I don't know.
They did it all the time in the EU, but have they established in canon that there's not a minimum range for a hyperspace jump?
Or a minimum, like, controllable range.
Right. So, I mean, like, yeah, I see your logic. Like, yeah, why don't they just go through hyperspace for, like, a split second and wind up closer to the resistant ships so they're within range? But is that possible in canon?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so that's our take on Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to go see it again, at least once more, maybe a couple times more. So next week we've got Jumanji and The Greatest Showman. I know we want to see both of those.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for those two videos, and go and check out our video on our review on The Disaster Artist, which is probably, like, from a technical standpoint, a better made movie.
Yeah.
Than this one. So yeah, go check that out and look for future stuff. Check us out on Twitch at everything_is_bad. And until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.